Hey you guys, I have been wanting to record my birth story since I had him, for myself actually, just to remember all of the details, because I found it actually a really satisfying and beautiful experience. And so I thought that actually I would just record it and post it here on YouTube for other people to watch, in case it's interesting for them, because I gave birth in Germany and I'm not from here, but also just other parents that are maybe, wondering, would like to hear someone's birth story. I know that a lot of people wanted to share their birth stories with me when they found out I was pregnant, and I was not ready to hear them. I just didn't want anything to compare it to, negative or positive, because on the positive side, then if it didn't turn out that way, I didn't want to be disappointed. So yeah, maybe now's not the time to watch this video. Maybe it's the perfect time, but I just wanted to share it because it didn't go perfectly. I guess perfectly in the perfect way I would have liked it to have been, but I do think that it was wonderful and beautiful, and I really enjoyed the experience. So I thought that I would just post it for other people to hear in case they're interested. We'll see if I can get through this in one chunk, or if this guy is going to let me, or if he's gonna want me to take a break. So we'll see how he does through it. Yeah. Huh. So yeah, he was born right after New Year's, and I went into labor at 2 a.m. in the morning on the 2nd. It was funny because I was really like, I don't want to be pregnant for Christmas, and I wasn't. And then I thought, oh, if I can make it through New Year's, that would be nice, so that he can have his own day, and his birthday is not always when everyone else is wanting to party for New Year's. So made it past New Year's to the 1st. And then on the 2nd, at about 2 a.m., I woke up in the night. Now I hadn't gone to sleep on New Year's Day. I didn't go to sleep because I don't know, I was just feeling antsy inside. And so I didn't fall asleep till like 12:30 or 12 o'clock, 12:30. And then a couple hours later, I got woken up with contractions on the morning of the 2nd. And I was thinking, oh, they're not real contractions. They're just Braxton Hicks, or practice contractions. And so I laid on the couch. I didn't want to wake my partner up. I laid on the couch and was thinking, oh, they're going to pass. And they didn't. They kept coming. And after a couple hours, I was like, oh, maybe they are a little bit stronger. So I called some of my friends in the US and I talked with them who had children and said, like, I don't know if I'm going into labor or not. Like, I'm having contractions, but I'm sure they're just practice contractions. And they were like, I don't know. It sounds like they could be real contractions. And so sure enough, they were real contractions, and they kept going. And I didn't wake my partner up in that evening, and about 8:30 the next morning he woke up and he came in the living room and saw me on the couch, and he knew something was going on because we created like a chat group with each other on WhatsApp called like Hospital Bag, where we could like post everything we wanted to take to the hospital. And also, so if I went into labor, like he knew he could I wanted him to make some raspberry leaf tea to take, and like a few small things that we couldn't pack in advance, he put in the bag for me. And so he was like, what's going on? And I was like, I think I'm in labor. I've been having contractions now for over 6 hours. At that point they were still manageable, and but definitely like they were building a little bit like closer together. And we had done like a Geburtsvorbereitungskurs, like a birthing preparation course, because in Germany it's covered by insurance. And so I was like trying to use some of the breathing techniques and stay calm and relax at home. And it worked really well. A friend lent me like a medicine ball. So I was like sitting on that, and it was totally fine. So then my partner was like, okay, we were like, okay, he's gonna work. And when I absolutely need to go to the hospital, then I'll let him know, because we didn't want him to like take an additional day off of work that he didn't need to take off. And so he was working, and about 5:30 p.m. that evening, I told him, okay, I think we should go to the hospital, because I was starting to have like a really bad headache, and to get some kind of like blurryish vision. And in my pregnancy, something called preeclampsia was at a higher risk, and the levels were rising when they were taking my urine and the blood. So I just wanted to be extra careful. Once I saw that everything was rising, I thought, okay, I should maybe go to the hospital now so they can check it. With the VIN or the contractions wise, it was fine for me. I could have stayed at home longer, but I was like, okay, I feel like I need to go for them to check it, because it can come on during birth as well, and it can be quite dangerous for the mom and the baby. So we went to the hospital, and we already had known where we were going to give birth. We had already registered, had an appointment, talked about our birth plan and everything with the doctor. So we went in, and they checked me to see how dilated I was, and I was only 4 centimeters dilated. And she looked at everything and said, like, I don't see preeclampsia going on at the moment. So I think you can go home if you would like, or the hospital's not so busy right now. If you want, we can put you guys in a room, and you can just stay here, and we can check you again when you feel like you've gone further. So we decided to stay there, because any people that have gone into labor know it is not fun to sit in a car when you're having contractions. It's kind of painful, and every like kind of turn or twist or bump doesn't feel good. And so I was like, no, I don't really want to go back home. So luckily they were super kind. They let us stay there, gave us a room, and so we were in there. For me, it felt like it was like 45 minutes. Apparently we were in there for like another 4 something hours. And I was just laying down in the bed, but then I started getting back pain coming on, and in my lower back, and it got worse and worse. And so then I couldn't like lay it down anymore. I could just like curl up in a ball. And then at one point I could just sit on a medicine ball with my legs squat, with like in a squat on the medicine ball with my legs like open and like my head on the bed. And so I said to my partner, I think we should tell her now. And she said like, okay, give me a minute and I'll check you. And they checked me, and I was at 7 centimeters dilated. And so she was like, okay, that's enough. We want to move you in. I was in the Kreissaal, which is like the, I don't know what you call it, like where you would stay overnight in the beds. And they moved me into the into the birthing center area. And they put us in the room, and we're like, okay, you can get comfortable. We'll come in and out and stay with you. And the Hebamme, or the midwife, she said like, you guys are actually my only patients right now, so I can stay in the room with you. I can go out, whatever you guys want, you just tell me. And so she gave us some space for a little bit in there. And then as the pain just continued to get worse and worse, I was like asking her if she could stay there, because having my partner and her talk to me was motivating to keep going. But at one point I just could not find a position that was really comfortable. And I was just really thankful, because when I came straight into the hospital, straight into the birthing center area, they were immediately just super welcoming. First of all, they had written in my chart that I was like an English speaker. And so like the girl just immediately addressed me in English. And that was something I was really nervous going into birth. Like, in this stressful environment, am I going to be able to speak German? Am I going to feel comfortable? And how is that going to be for me? And so it was just really nice that they immediately were open to speak English with me. And it ended up the whole experience being a mix of German and English, but just having someone that was so open like that just made it such a wonderful experience. It made me feel really safe and heard. And yeah, so she put me in the room, and then at that point, they were switching shifts, and so I had a new midwife who came in and introduced herself, and she was like, yeah, I can stay with you guys, I can go. And so she stayed in, and she was also talking to us and just was very motivating. But at one point the pain got too bad, and so we said, like, okay, we should do something to progress. So she offered me to go into the bath, and I could try to birth him in there, or I could get a PDA, or like a epidural, or a form of an epidural. And once they offered me this, I was laying in the bed and I was feeling this like pressure come on in my body, and my partner was behind me, and I just started screaming, something's coming, because I just felt like this extreme pressure. And that is when my water broke. It broke everywhere, all over me and my partner in the bed. And I just thought it was, in the moment, it was really funny, and we were both laughing, but it was also surprising, because normally you hear stories where like this clear liquid breaks when you're at home, and then, you know, then you go to the hospital. So for me, it broke at the hospital, and I won't get into super details because I don't know. It's kind of weird here on YouTube, but yeah, I found it interesting that it broke when we were already that many hours in and already in the hospital. I mean, I knew that could happen after having the birth preparation course, because she explained how it worked, that not everyone even has the water come out in the way that like you see it in the movies. But yeah, it was just like a funny experience that we always look back on. We always laugh at, because of me screaming that out loud, and then with the amount of like pressure that came out when the water broke. Yeah, so then we decided that I would go in the bath. That was my next choice. I wanted to try to have him without medication if I could, and I was in the bath for about 45 minutes, but it just was not helping the back pain. I was thrashing around. I was like soaking my partner with water, because I was like thrashing water out of the tub. And my one thing was not being mean to people, not yelling at people. It was the F-bomb. I just kept throwing the F-bomb again and again and again. Every time like a wave would come or a contraction would come. In German, you call contractions waves, which I think is a much nicer way to explain it. But anyways, and so every time a wave would come, I would just be like, F-bomb, 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 F-bomb. And for those of you that don't know what F-bomb means, it's the F-U-C-K word. And yeah, so I was like thrashing my head up and then back down towards the water, and my partner was like feeling kind of uncomfortable because I was in water thrashing around so much. And it just was not helping the pain at all. And I was burning all of my energy. And at this point, I had already been almost 24 hours in labor. So we made the decision together to take me out and to give me the PDA, or the epidural. And because I didn't want to take laughing gas or something, I really wanted to be present. That was like when we had the meeting, the one thing, or the couple of things I had said to the doctor was that I would really like to be present during my birth, like mentally and physically. So I wanted to know what was going on if I could, and I wanted to be able to move. It was okay that I couldn't get up and walk, but I wanted to be able to move. I didn't want to be like in the US where you're stuck with your feet up in stirrups if you get a PDA and like they block you from the waist down. I didn't want something like that. I really wanted to be able to move my body and birth in any position that felt natural to me. And I really wanted to be able to, if I was able to have a vag birth, I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube. I really wanted it to be able to feel the baby, like to have the experience connection between my body and brain, and not just be like not being able to experience that. And so we decided to go with the PDA. The anesthesiologist came and made me sign a document, and then they put it in my back, and it worked on the one half but not the other half. So the pain got even stronger because it was concentrating on one area of my back. And so after about 45 minutes, like, we asked him if he could come again and reset it. And he was like, oh, you know, sometimes that happens. Let me try pulling it back and maybe it will work and we don't need to fully reset it. So he tried it and it didn't work. And so then we asked him to come again and to reset it. But he was gone because they were switching shifts again. And this is when then shortly before I got my last hepama, she was absolutely amazing. She was the one that helped me birth him, along with a doctor and like a training, I think, midwife. And the last midwife came in and like called for an anesthesiologist, and they said, oh, we're switching shifts. We'll be there shortly. And over an hour went by. This is what I was told after, because when you're in birth, or at least for me, like, you have no idea how much time's going by or what's going on. You're just in pain or not in pain, but you're just like really deep in this experience. You know, you're really deep in breathing and moving and doing what feels best for your body. So you're not thinking about the time going by. But I guess it took over an hour, and so she got upset and went out. And I just feel really thankful how much that they all advocated for me. Like, I feel like everyone I had was really advocating for me. All the midwives, the doctor, my partner, and that just felt really special to have people that were really advocating for what I wanted and my safety. And yeah, not just my safety, but also what was important to me. I will forever remember that and will forever be thankful for that. And so the midwife called the anesthesiologist again and was like, hey, like, this woman is in a lot of pain. You need to come back and you need to do this. So she came in, and then they were having like a little bit of an argument because she wanted to pull it back again. And the hepama was like, no. Or sorry, the midwife was like, no, he already did that. It didn't work. Like, she's in so much pain. Like, you need to reset it. And she was like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to do this. And she's like, we're either doing this or we can give her laughing gas, or we can lead it to a C-section because it's taking like so long and she's in so much pain. And then, like, it was really, in the moment, I was not fully there, but I will always remember just hearing the midwife and my partner advocate so hard for me of like, no, she wants to be mentally present. I don't think she needs to go to a C-section. Like, you need to reset it, you need to do it. And basically they ended up saying like, okay, this anesthesiologist was a little bit higher up than the other one. And she was like very confident that if she reset it, it would be fine. Like, not reset it, but moved it. So she moved it, and within like 10 minutes, it definitely got way better. So the pain never went fully away on that side of my back, but it went from like at that point a 10 to like a 4. So it was definitely manageable. And the midwife that I have, she was just so wonderful. She was taking my contractions away so that I had like a chance to have a break, because I was so exhausted and in pain at that point. So once the epidural kicked, she pulled my contractions back so that I wasn't feeling them. And she told my husband and I, or my partner and I, my husband, that we should take a nap and have a break. And she would come back in like half hour, and then we're gonna push this baby out. And so, it gets me emotional every time thinking about it. And so she went away, she came back, and she's like, could tell we were still like half asleep, and she was like, okay, sleep a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna come back again. And so she came back, and she was like, okay, let's do this. And she started feeding my contractions back a little bit, and I was just so done. I was crying, and I was like, I can't push anymore, because I just felt like I had no energy to push anymore. And then the doctor came in. I think she must have called the doctor. The doctor came in with this other midwife that was in training. And the doctor came in front of my face. She leaned down on the bed, and she said to me, sorry, I just get emotional. She said, you can do this. You're gonna meet your baby soon. You just need to push and scream with everything you have, and everything will be okay, and he'll come out. I can feel his head, and he's right there, and you just need to push through the pain. I remember she said, you just need to push through the pain, and then he'll be here. And she was right. And so they started to feed my contractions back in, and my husband was laying behind me, rubbing my back, and one Hebama had my leg up on her shoulder, and she was leaning on the bed. The doctor had my other foot in her hand up in the air, and I was laying on my side, on my left side. And the other woman was just like rooting me on, and they were like, okay, here it comes. Scream, you can do it. Push, push, push. And don't squeeze back in, just push as hard as you can through it, and don't suck back in. Every time you suck back in, then the baby goes back. And I think I've never screamed so loud in my whole life, but all I could do was scream. It was the only way to give myself energy. At one point, partway through, the doctor said to me, she said, can you try doing more of like a relaxed guttural sound, kind of, and this is what you learn in your birthing preparation course. She's like, then you won't lose your energy. I'm scared you're gonna lose your energy so much. But I was just, the only thing at that point that could give me power was to just scream and push as hard as I could. That was all I could do. I couldn't think about anything. I could just think, okay, I have to scream and push as hard as I can, and he's gonna come out. And at one point I noticed my contractions were getting like faster and faster, but I just thought I was getting better and better at them. It turned out like later on, my husband said like, oh no, she was like feeding to you faster and faster and faster so that he would come out faster. But it was funny because in the moment I had no idea. I was like, I'm getting the hang of this. This is going great. Like I'm pushing and like screaming, and he's gonna come. And then towards the end, she said, I was getting tired, and she said, take your hand and reach down, and you can feel your baby, like how close he is. And I reached down and I could feel his head. And that was just like so motivating to me to feel him. And as I continued pushing, when he was in the final place of the canal, I could feel him, like he was like wiggling like this, like, Mom, I just want to come out, you know? And I feel really thankful I got to feel that. I never had heard that before, that you can like feel them like a little kind of worm wiggling through the canal trying to get out. And I found it like a really, I think, profound experience to be able to feel that. And I pushed a few more times, and in the end I had been pushing, I guess, almost 4 hours in total, they told me. From the very start to the very end of the pushing period, because in the beginning they were giving me the contractions really slowly, and she said, push one more time and he's gonna be here. And I'll never forget just having all those women around me. It was just so empowering, and they were so supportive. And looking back at my partner who was there, and he was just fully also immersed in this experience, and he was like holding me, and I pushed one more time, and he popped out, and I just remember looking up and seeing him with his arms and legs open above me, and the doctor took him and laid him straight on my stomach, and I held him right away, and he was just squirming, and he wasn't such a big crier. He was like making cute little whining sounds, and he was squirming all over me, and I was just holding him, and my partner was laying there, and then they let him lay with us for, I don't know, an hour or so before they finally cut the cord. They waited till the pulse stopped, and then they cut it, and then they showed us the placenta and explained it to us, and explained like how it takes care of the baby and all of that time, and asked us what we wanted to do with it, if we wanted to keep it or get rid of it or whatever. And yeah, we just got to lay there for a couple hours, and be all together before they took him and weighed him and brought him back to us. And then 2 days later, we got to bring him home. On mine and my partner's actually 8th month wedding anniversary, we got to bring him home. And yeah, I wanted to record this actually a while back, but I just was exhausted, didn't have time. And also, as you can see, it still makes me emotional. It was just, I couldn't talk about it without bawling my eyes out. But yeah, it was such an amazing experience. And for anyone that is like scared of giving birth, like, you got this and it's gonna be great. And I think a big part of it is a mindset. And one thing they said in my, birthing course is like, people are scared of birth because of pain, but I mean, obviously in birth is pain, but the enjoyment that you feel and the happiness you feel when you see them immediately after, it absolutely doesn't matter. Like, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat, you know? So you got this, mamas. And now our little baby is here, and can't wait to have more experiences with him. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.